Hello, welcome back. This is a part of a video lecture series as a part of the course Programming for Problem Solving. And in this particular video, we will look at a topic from Unit 3, Chapter 1, Strings. And the topic that we are going to look at today is operations on strings. So what have we got to see in this video? In this video, we'll try to check out the common operations on strings. Why do we need string handling functions and how do we implement those string handling functions is what we're going to see. Okay, so operations on strings. What are the common operations possible on strings? String is a group of characters and the common operations would be like reading strings, writing strings, which we have already seen in the last lecture. And today we'll be looking at combining strings together, copying one string to another, comparing strings for equality, extracting some portion of a string, inserting and deleting some portion of the string and reversing a string. These are all the general possible operations on strings. So how do we perform operations on strings? All string manipulations can be done manually by the programmer, but that takes a lot of time and that involves a lot of logic to be returned by the programmer. On the other hand, to solve this problem, C library also supports a lot of built-in functions. Okay, so therefore, operations on strings can be performed in two ways. One is using string handling functions and the other one is without using string handling functions by manually writing the logics. Okay. So yes, in this part of the video lecture, a concentration would be on understanding the string handling functions of C language. So to handle string functions, the C library supports a large number of string handling functions available in string.H. So therefore, if you just go and use string.H, you will get to see a lot of functions. So here we are trying to look at a few functions available in string.H. There are like a couple of, a large number of functions available in string.H. Few of them are strcpy, a function called strcpy that is used to copy one string to another. strncpy, which is used to exactly copy n bytes from the first string to the second string. strcat, which is used to append or concatenate strings together. strncat, which is used to exactly append first 10 bytes of the string 1 to string 2. strlen, that is used to find the length of a string. strcmp, that is used to compare two strings. strncmp, that is used to compare first 10 bytes of string 1 to string 2. stricmp, that is used to ignore the case and compare both the strings. strchr, that is used to determine the first occurrence of a given character in a string. And strrchr, that is used to determine the last occurrence of a given character in a string. And strstr, that is used to find the occurrence of the substring in the main string. So these are the few functions available in string.H, which is used by the programmer to solve his problem. Okay, so how do we use this predefined string handling functions? Because they are available in string.H, step 1, you got to include string.H. Step 2, understand the meaning and the purpose of the function. Suppose I want to find out length of a string, then I need to go and understand out of all these functions, which function am I supposed to use? Which function, because I want to find out the length of a string, the function that I got to use is strlen. So understand the purpose and then know the inputs and the output of that particular function. How many inputs is that function going to take? strlen basically takes one input, that is either the string or the string constant. Okay, so understand all that, understand also the return type, and then make a call to the function effectively. So if I have to use properly, then I write int l is equal to strlen of double quotes Hyderabad. That's what I got to write. Okay, this is how you got to use a predefined, how are you supposed to use a predefined function. So let's see a few functions now. The first one that we're going to look at is strlen. What is strlen? strlen is a function that is used to find the length of a string. Length of a string is nothing but the number of characters in that particular string. So therefore, it is of the form int n is equal to strlen of string, where it can be a string variable or a string constant. The input can be a variable or a constant. Example, I write strlen of Delhi, answer would be 5. If I write message is having hello grit, if I write strlen of message, the answer would be 11. Grit is 5 letters, hello is 5 letters, space is 1. So 5 plus 1 plus 5 is 11. Okay. So yes, this is an example program. Include string.h, read a string and then try to print it. Printf strlen of s1. S1 I entered grit, so grit is 5, so I got 5. Again here I typed a string constant also, Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a 9-letter word, so I got 9. Understand, remember the difference between size and length. Size is length plus 1. Length is number of characters in a string. Okay. So next one that we're going to look at is strcpy that copies one string to another. The ideal the ideal syntax will be strcpy of str1 comma str2, where store string2 and string1. So ideally, if you have to understand, you take it as strcpy of destination comma source, where source is copied to destination. So the second argument is copied to the first argument. That implies the first argument must be a variable and the second argument can be a variable or a constant. So that's what it means. I can't write Delhi comma city, which is illegal. Okay. So the first argument must be a variable and the second argument can be a variable or a constant. Example, I wrote, I have a string S1. S1 I'm copying into S2. So therefore, when I execute this, enter a string Google. After copying S1 is Google and S2 is also Google, because I wrote strcpy of S2 comma S1. Okay, next one, strcat. What is the job of strcat? Concatenation or appending is a process of adding one string at the end of another string. So if I have to do that business, for example, we write Miss Sandhya, example, Mrs. Rajput, like that we write, right? So therefore, if you want to attach one string at the, fix one string at the end of another string, then that's done using a predefined function called strcat that takes two inputs, first string and the second string. Okay, so the second argument is added to the end of first argument. Remember, please, the second argument is added at the end of first argument. So therefore, it takes the form strcat of string1 comma string2. It adds the second argument at the end of first argument. So in this entire business, string1 gets modified and string2 remains unchanged. String1 gets modified and string2 remains unchanged. Here both the arguments, here the first argument must be a variable and the second argument can be a variable or a constant. The first argument must be a variable and the second argument can be a variable or a constant. First argument must be a variable. Please remember that. And also, by the way, another point that's also important is, yes, here this is an example of nesting. What's nesting? Nesting is a process of, doing multiple things, one inside another. Yes, you can nest strcat. This can be nested. C language supports you to nest this strcat. Okay. So what happens here? First inner bracket, str2 is added to str1. This produces modified str1. To the modified str1, str3 is added. This is allowed. This is called nesting of strcat, nested function call, which is allowed by C language. Okay, so this is an example. We wrote strcat of s1 comma s2. When I do strcat of s1 comma s2, s1 is good and s2 is day. S1 is good and S2 is day. So when I added, S1 becomes good day without any space and S2 remains unchanged, which is day. So my dear boys and girls, the point to be remembered is whenever you append two strings using strcat, it replaces null and joins the second string. So that's why the strings get attached without a space. The strings get attached without a space. So if you want to have that space, then we have to do some nesting like this. Add space first and then add it to S2. Then it will become good space day. Okay, so that's the point to be remembered. Ideally, strcat replaces the null with the second string. So that's why the strings get attached without a space in between. The next one is strrev. Before we think about strrev, as the name says, yes, exactly, it is used to reverse a string, but strrev does not find its, existence in the standard compiler. So a few compilers support strrev and a few doesn't. So before you check out and work out with strrev, please ensure if it's found in the library or not. String.H, certain compilers do not support strrev in String.H. So it reverses the same string and stores it in the same string. So that's why if there is hello here, and after reversing, if I write %str of str, then it refers OLLEH. It takes one argument that's a pointer to the same string and returns the pointer to the same string, reversed string. Okay, so enter a string bat, and when I reverse it, I get tab. So that's why I write this. After reverse, it is S1, strrev of S1. S1 reversed, yes, S1 lone pedtadi. Kabatti when I print it, I get the answer as tab itself. Okay, same string. It reverses the string and stores it in the same string. The next one is comparison. Comparison is a process of trying to match one string with another string, matching their ASCII characters. Yes, exactly. How does the comparison happen? Comparison happens by matching their ASCII characters, ASCII values of each character. So strcmp is a function that returns 0 if the strings are similar. Otherwise returns the ASCII difference of the first non-matching characters. Okay, so it takes two inputs. Both the inputs can be either variables or constants or both. variable or a constant, constant or a variable, or only variables or constants. The input can be a variables or constants, no issue here, but it returns an integer. strcmp returns an integer. Okay, so for example, if it is 0, implies the strings are similar, otherwise the strings are not similar. For example, my first input is god and my input is my second string is god. Okay, now let us try to see. GG same, OO same, OD not same. So the matching, non-matching occurs at O and D. So it does O minus D. What is O minus D? ASCII value of O minus ASCII value of D. It is 11 characters. If you want, you can check. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. It is 11. So the ASCII difference is 11. So it returned 11. I printed X value to ensure that we understand the ASCII difference. Okay, so it prints the answer. Strings are not similar. That is about strcmp. Okay, the next one is strstr. What is strstr? Strstr is a substring match function or a pattern match function. It tries to find out the second string in the first string. So it takes two inputs, two strings, first string and second string. It tries to see if the second string is there in the first string or not. Okay, so it returns a pointer to the place where the string is found in the first string, otherwise returns null. Suppose example, aeroplane lo plan వెతుకుతున్నాను అనుకోండమ్మా. Just check out here. I'm trying to search plan inside aeroplane. PLAN. Do you find it? Yes, we find it at this part P. So what it returns is it returns the pointer to the place where it is found in the main string. So it returns the pointer to P. That means when I print it, I get PLANE as the answer. Okay. On the other hand, suppose I'm searching here rope inside aeroplane. ROPE. I have ROP, but I don't have ROPE. So therefore it returns null. Okay. So let's check up an example. Okay, here my two strings, aeroplane and plan. So yes, the answer would be plane because it returns a pointer to P, the position where it is found in the main string. Plan is found in aeroplane. That's what I just printed. It's your printing. You can do it in any way. So what is ideally written is if of str of s1 comma s2 not equal to null, printf the substring is found, else printf not found. That's what we ideally do because that's what the meaning of str is. Before we close, I recommend you to try implementing string handling functions on your own. Write a C program to find the length of the string, length of your name using strlen, and write a C program to combine your first name, middle name, last name into your full name using strcat. And the third one, write a C program to determine if a string is palindrome or not using predefined functions. Palindrome is a string whose reverse is equal to the same string. So try doing all this. And also, not to forget, there are so many more functions, strncat, strncpy, strncmp. We'll try to see that in the next video. Otherwise, go through the material definitions and try to learn on your own. Good day.